You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. Utter failure. There are some narcissists which succeed in many things. They create empires. In some cases, literal ones, by way of the conquering of other nations and spaces. Other empires are forged through technology, through money, through business. Other narcissists succeed in particular fields, achieving sporting success, literary success, artistic acclaim. Of course, for each narcissist that is successful in that way, there are hundreds, if not thousands, per narcissist that is successful who are unsuccessful. Strolling along the boulevard of broken dreams, aspirations of being a tech giant dashed once more with another bankruptcy. Another rejection letter from a literary agent or publishing house suggesting that the work which the narcissist regards as their magnus opus is not quite what they're looking for. Another failed audition as the narcissist who believes that they're going to be the next superstar of the acting world finds that it's ended in dismay and tears for oneself. There are those narcissists who are in and out of prison, unable to regulate themselves in accordance with the standards of modern society, so they fall foul of the law. And there are, of course, the failures of relationships, both romantic, familial, and social. There are plenty of successful narcissists, but there are also a lot more which fail to succeed as a consequence of their inability to regulate their relationships, the power of their delusion, meaning that they believe that they're far superior to what they actually are, that there is a very harsh reality gap that they are not party to. And Harry's wife falls within this. In order to be balanced, she, of course, is infamous, or some may say famous. She's known around the globe, which, of course, is something that pleases her. Furthermore, she's a multimillionairess. Money is hugely important to her, so there's been a success in that regard. However, that's essentially where it ends, and it would be fair to say that she and Harry, because he's dragged along by the pink pods by her, have become utter failures. Camilla Tominey of The Telegraph tells us, Harry and Harry's wife are learning that Hollywood only respects real royalty. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex appear to be learning the hard way that Hollywood only defers to real institutions. There has always been a grudging respect in California for the royals, not just, as Harry and Harry's wife might have thought, because they have fancy titles and wear tiaras, but because they have a formal constitutional role that transcends mere celebrity. The Americans may not have a class system as such, but in Los Angeles, as with the rest of the United States, there is a hierarchy of fame and fortune. Those at the top of the tree tend to be the ones who walk the walk and talk the talk. Being superficially famous only gets you so far before people start asking, what is the point of you? So within days of being roasted by South Park as a dumb prince and his stupid wife, challenge fuel, threat to control, the Sussexes announced that their daughter, Princess Lilibet, had been christened in LA last week. See parts pass him, in the process reaffirming their royalness, despite spending recent months trashing the institution to which their titles belong. Hypocrisy. Yet as the satirical cartoon illustrated to such devastating effect, global audiences have a knack for quickly seeing through any attempts by Harry and Harry's wife to enjoy all the privileges of royal life without taking the responsibilities that come along with it. What has been most striking since their move to the United States is how inward-looking they have been in a land that values the promotion of hope and opportunity. They spoke in their Megxit statement about carving out a progressive new role that was intended to put them on a par with the likes of the Gateses and the Obamas. And yet, much of what we have heard from the couple so far has been self-serving, rather than in the service of others. They could do worse, therefore, than attending the coronation, if only to show Tinseltown that they still have a part to play in British history, rather than acting out in a way that has become as predictable as a script for the Crown. The observations there of Camilla Tominey. And Harry's wife, and by extension Harry, have utterly failed. There was the flopped podcast, which was little more than a series of attempts to nullify threats to control that Harry's wife dredged up from the past, settling scores with all of the labels that have been attached to her. Obvious, transparent, and ultimately a boring beige set of dull interviews. The Netflix series, it certainly earned them a lot of money, and of course had plenty of views, though much of it will have been grudge viewing, but it was largely criticised as a whinge fest. It certainly didn't endear them to anybody. The publication of Spare and the promotion associated with it merely saw Harry being lampooned, him being hung out to dry by his handler, and of course both the Sussexes experiencing plummeting levels of popularity, particularly in the United States. What has become of Harry's wife's push for parental leave? That's gone quiet. Of course, we know that she just jumps from one bandwagon to another, meaning that she has no longevity. She doesn't stay the course. Failure beckons. The Archwell Foundation issued its impact report recently, but as I've explained in parts passing, this was largely an exercise in hijacking the work of others in order to make Harry's wife look good. Her 40 by 40 exercise, which she had plagiarised from elsewhere, disappeared without a trace. The only thing memorable from it was some clown juggling balls outside of the window. She apparently was going to go to Washington with Gloria Steinem. Let's hear news on that. Just tumbleweed. The lunch with the senators? Nothing. Penetration of the A-list? A laughable failure. Not only has she failed to become absorbed within the Hollywood elite, they positively distanced themselves from her. As just mentioned, she sought to place herself on a par with the Gateses and the Obamas. Failure. Not only that, the Obamas saw straight through her, and they have run a mile. Remember the Obama birthday bummer? Perhaps she's a fashion icon. Not at all. She's roundly criticised for the things that she wears, both in terms of tastelessness, failure to fit, and excessive expenditure. She looks like she's going to resurrect her blog. What a raving success she is, going full circle, back to the very thing that she once did years ago. She's managed to ostracise her own family and his. She, and by extension he, are now subject of dislike, scepticism and ridicule from the populaces of so many different countries. They draw repeated ridicule from comedians and commentators. South Park, Chris Rock, Hilary Rose of The Times, Meghan Kelly, Piers Morgan, Charlemagne the God, Jimmy Kimmel, Camilla Tominey, Daniela Elsa, Tom Bauer, Valentine Lowe, Dan Wooten, Jeremy Clarkson, Peter Ford, Duncan Larcombe, and others. All of this smells like utter failure. Yet, within the deluded world of Harry's wife, while she faces these daily challenges of a mounting tsunami of criticism, her narcissism shields her from it by always reminding her that it's never her fault. This means she can't see that she's at fault, but it also means, given her mid-range narcissism, is that she's going to continue to make these mistakes, draw the criticism and scepticism of both professional commentators and social commentators, as she continues to circle the drain and continue to fail continue to fail politically, continue to fail in terms of entertainment, continue to fail in terms of popularity. She, alongside the ginger puppet, are an utter failure.